Bonjour and welcome viewers and students to Let's Speak French, Parlons Français. These lessons on basic French are short and easy. If you follow the program regularly, I can guarantee you that very soon you will be able to speak and understand French quite easily. Today's class will be a continuation of the previous class, Special Sounds that are characteristic of the French language, Part 2. This class will be divided into two sections. In the first part, we will continue with a couple of other letter combinations that are particular of the French language. In the second section, we will learn all about the accents that certain letters, notably the vowels, take. These accents change the way the letters are pronounced and are again typical of the French language. In the previous lesson, we saw two of letter combinations. A combination of vowels and one consonant, and B, a combination of two and sometimes three vowels. Now we will see a third category of letter combination. Here, the letters that are combined are all consonants. The French language has a number of letter combinations that have a distinct pronunciation. Knowing how these are pronounced will help in speaking, reading, as well as in writing French. In this lesson, we will learn four such letter combinations. The first one is the letter C followed by the letter H. When you come across this combination CH, always pronounce it as sh. To facilitate your understanding, let me compare it with the English language. The French CH has the same pronunciation as SH in the English words shop and flash. Let me give you examples of words that are written with CH in French. Cheval, machine, mouchoir. Let me repeat these words. Cheval, machine, mouchoir. The second one is the letter G followed by the letter N. When you come across this GN letter combination, always pronounce it as y. To facilitate your understanding, let me compare it with the English language. The letter Y in the words year, your, when nasalized, can be compared to the French y. Let me give you examples of words that are written with the GN combination. Montagne, agneau, baignoire. Let me repeat these words. Montagne, agneau, baignoire. The third letter combination is composed of 2L. This is always pronounced as the letter Y in the words year and your. Let me give you examples of words that are written with double L. Famille, coquillage, billet. Let me repeat these words. Famille, coquillage, billet. There are, however, a few exceptions. Words like these are written with double L, yet they are pronounced as ville and million. Let me repeat the words that have double L and are pronounced as y. Famille, coquillage, billet. The fourth letter combination is composed of double S. In French, when you come across two S, it is always pronounced as the letter C in cinema, city. This letter combination is never found at the beginning of a word. Let me give you examples of words that are written with double S. Poisson, coussin, boussole. Let me repeat the words: poisson, coussin, boussole. Since we are on the topic of double S, let me inform you that interestingly, a single S in French is pronounced like the letter Z in zone and zero. For instance, this word is pronounced as poison. It means the same thing as in English poison. But when you add a double S, poison becomes poisson. However, when a word begins with S, the S is pronounced as the S in English. In this part, we will learn all about the accents. In the French language, there are three distinct accents: accent aigu, accent grave, accent circonflexe. Let's begin with accent aigu. The acute accent or accent aigu appears only above the letter E. When the accent is placed on the letter E, the pronunciation of the letter changes. Normally, the letter E is pronounced as E and sometimes as A. But with the accent, the letter E is pronounced as A, like the first letter of the English alphabet, A. In French, when the letter E takes this accent, you say E accent aigu, which roughly translates as E with acute accent. Let me give you a few words that have the accent aigu above the letter E: vélo, canapé, éléphant. We have already learned these words in our previous classes. So now I'll give you a few new words: étoile, télévision, café. Let me repeat the words: vélo, canapé, éléphant, étoile, télévision, café. To recapitulate this section, the letter E can have different pronunciations, E and A. And when the accent aigu is placed over the letter E, it is pronounced as A. So you have E, A and A. E as in cheval, A as in selle, and A as in bébé. Let me repeat the words: E as in cheval, A as in selle, and A as in bébé. Let us look at the second accent. The grave accent or accent grave appears on three vowels: A, E and U. The letter A takes the accent grave in a few occasions only, and when the accent is placed above it, the pronunciation of the letter does not change. Let me give you a few words that take the accent grave over the letter A: A, which means to, au-delà, which means beyond, and là-bas, which means there or over there. So, A, au-delà and là-bas. As you can see, the letter A is not pronounced differently because of the accent. The pronunciation remains the same, A. The accent grave does not have any effect on the pronunciation of the letter A. This is true for the letter U as well. The accent grave does not alter the pronunciation of the letter U. So why is there an accent, you would ask? Well, sometimes the reason for adding the accent is to distinguish between two words having the same spelling. For example, to differentiate between ou, which means or, and ou, which means where. In fact, this word ou with the accent is the only French word where the u takes the accent grave. The letter E takes the accent grave quite frequently, and when it does, there is a change in the pronunciation. The letter E with a grave accent is pronounced as a. If you remember our previous lesson, we learned that this a sound can also be produced with the AI letter combination. The letter E frequently takes the accent grave, and so there are numerous words with a accent grave, that is E with grave accent. Let me give you a few examples. That have the E accent grave: chèvre, rivière, poème. In the first module, we learned the word pastèque. Pastèque is also written with E accent grave. So let me repeat the words that we just learned: chèvre, rivière, poème, and pastèque. Let us now look at the third accent, the circumflex accent or accent circonflexe. In French, the letter Y is considered as a vowel. So apart from the letter Y, all the other 5 vowels take the accent circonflexe. So you have A, E, I, O and U, which take the accent circonflexe. When this accent appears on the letters A, I, O and U, there is absolutely no change in the pronunciation. Moreover, there aren't many words that have accent circonflexe. So there is an ongoing debate about getting rid of this accent. Let me give you examples of French words where the vowel takes a circonflexe: âne, boîte, hôpital, piqûre. However, when the accent circonflexe is placed over the letter E, there is a distinct change in the pronunciation. Accent circonflexe is pronounced as a, which coincidentally can also be created with accent grave and the AI letter combination. Let me give you a few words that are written with accent circonflexe: fenêtre, crêpe, tête. Let me repeat the words: âne, boîte, hôpital, piqûre, fenêtre, crêpe, and tête. Before we recapitulate what we learned in the second part of this module, let me add 2 more diacritical marks that are seen in the French language. These 2 are far less common than the accents. The first one is called tréma in French and diaresis in English. In the French language, the tréma is placed over the vowels E and I. The reason for adding this diacritical mark is to indicate that the vowel over which the tréma is placed needs to be pronounced separately. Let me give you examples to illustrate this concept. The word mais is pronounced as may and means but. The word mai tréma s, which means corn, is pronounced as mais. So in the first word may, the letters A and I are considered as one, as a letter combination. But in the second word mais, because of the diacritical mark over the letter I, the letters A and I are pronounced separately. Let me give you other examples: Noël, Israel, naïve, and héroïne. Let me repeat the words: Noël, Israel, naïve and héroïne. And the final diacritical mark that we will learn is called cédille in French and cédilla in English. This diacritical mark is used only under the letter C. When the letter C takes the cédilla, its pronunciation changes to S. If you remember, in our first module we learned that the letter C can have two different pronunciations. K when placed before the vowels A, O and U, and S when placed before the vowels E and I. However, when a cédille, which means the letter C with the cédilla, precedes A, O and U, then in that case it is pronounced as S. Let me illustrate this idea with an example. Let us look at these two words. The first word means snowflake and the second word means boy. If you notice, both the words end with C-O-N. As per the rules of pronunciation, when the letter O follows the letter C, we pronounce the latter as K. Hence, this first word is pronounced as flocon. But in the second word, we find the cédilla under the letter C. In this case, the K sound changes to S and the word is pronounced as garçon. If you forget to add the cédilla, garçon would be pronounced as garcon. Let me give you a few words that are written with cédille. Façade, balançoire, déçu, which means disappointed. Always remember the cédille is never followed by the vowels E and I, since the letter C is anyway pronounced as S. Before we end the second part of the module, let me recapitulate what we learned. The letter A can take two accents, A accent grave and A accent circonflexe. In both cases, the pronunciation remains the same, A. The letter E can take four accents, E accent aigu, E accent grave, E accent circonflexe and E tréma. E accent aigu is pronounced as A, while E accent grave, E accent circonflexe and E tréma are pronounced as A. The letter I can take two accents, E tréma and E accent circonflexe. In both cases, the pronunciation remains the same, E. The letter O can take only one accent, and that's O circumflex. The circumflex does not change the pronunciation of O. And finally, the letter U. This letter can take two accents, U accent grave and U accent circonflexe. Again, these accents do not change the pronunciation of the letter U. Before we end, let us revise what we learned today. Here is an exercise. In this exercise, we will learn how to pronounce words that are formed by the letter combinations and the accents that we learnt in today's class. You can repeat after me. Clôture, clôture. Naïve, naïve. Élève, élève. Chenille, chenille. Façon, façon. Élégant, élégant. Gagner, gagner. Hôtel, hôtel. So here we come to the end of the third class, which focused on a few sounds and accents that are characteristic of the French language. Let me summarize today's lesson in a few words. This lesson was divided into two parts. In the first part, we learned how to pronounce a combination of consonants, which were CH, GN, double L and double S. In the second part, we learned the various accents and diacritical marks that are used in the French language. These include accent aigu, accent grave, accent circonflexe, tréma and cédille. And in the final part, we revised today's lesson. We did a spelling exercise which was based on words that were formed by all the letter combinations and accents that we learnt in today's class. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In the next class, we will look at the various silent letters that abound in the French language. We will also learn about the liaison, a very important phenomenon that occurs in oral communication. Hope to see you in the next class. À bientôt. See you soon.